I don't think people would think about how good a Malort-based cocktail actually is, because it gets a bad rap because people just take it as shots and then make the face.
Yeah.
It is a good base to a cocktail.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can base it for like any cocktail. You can replace it for like vodka cocktails, gin, rum, whatever, and it does a good job because it gives a little bit of an added bitter element to it, which sometimes cuts into it, and that's why it works so well in the bloody Valentine's Day massacre.
This is probably one of the best Malort-based cocktails I've had, and I've had, I mean, it's not a bit, like I've had a few of them. And this, for some reason, the flavors just blend together, from the tomato juice from the Bloody Mary mix from Clark and Sheffield, with the Jardinera seasoning from J.P. Graziano, and the actual Jardinera garnish from J.P. Graziano.
Yep.
All these local flavors blend together pretty amazingly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pure Chicago drink with a Chicago historical bent to it.
Yeah, a bunch of murders.
Yeah. Cheers, actually clink it this time, you know.
That's good. Today's movie is not about any kind of drink at all. Well, kind of.
It's about a drink.
Yeah.
The Waterboy. Now,
Play football for this team.
the world will feel his pain.
We did the Sandler-verse movies, Big Daddy, Billy Madison, of course. Haven't done The Wedding Singer yet, which I think is his best movie in that realm. This is like a tier 3 for me.
Okay.
Wedding Singer, Billy Madison, Big Daddy. Although Billy Madison's better than Big Daddy, but I think they're in the same tier. And then I'd put Waterboy on tier 3 with like better than Anger Management, better than Grown Ups.
Little Nicky.
Little Nicky's fucking dog shit. That's pretty low. Jack and Jill's at the bottom, Little Nicky, Grown Ups, Anger Management.
Wasn't his first movie Gone Overboard?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd include that in his universe because he doesn't even want to talk about that movie.
Shut up!
Billy, maybe Waterboy is on the same tier as Grown. It's not a good movie.
Well, Anne hates this movie. I was telling her that we were going to do this.
I think that's fair.
And she said, I hate that movie. That movie was awful. I want the 2 hours of my life back, is what she said. I mean, I don't know, but
I hope not.
she rounded it up maybe to 2 hours. I want the 2 hours of my life back.
It's
she
not
hated
good.
this movie.
I think this is actually, I said on different one with Sandler where it was like, end of SNL, he's popular, he's like a cool young guy, makes a couple good movies. Oh, Happy Gilmore. Happy Gilmore is a better movie than this. He makes a couple good movies like Happy Gilmore. It's like good movies, movies people like.
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, Wedding Singer. Then he makes this. It's like 99, 98.
1998.
So he makes a movie every single year from leaving SNL, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Which is kind of bananas. And I think this is the point where, not quite oversaturated, where people are like, fuck this guy, he keeps making shitty movies, but we're getting to the point where it's like, all right, this is kind of, because he's doing all these voices. The voice in this is actually, I think people realize because his SNL tenure is so long ago, but like a lot of the voices and characters he does in movies are loosely pulled from something on SNL.
Yep.
And he did this character with Chris Farley, it was Frank Dippy and Hank Doodle on Weekend Update, where they're like regular people giving their take on the news.
100 days. This is going back to the. It's as simple as. Okay, Bill Clinton got the. Let me just say that. How to make no mistake.
And he does the voice he does.
Well, it's actually 2 characters, 3 characters if you include those, right?
He does his voice over and over again.
But this is also Cajun Man.
Flintstone, Fordon, Old Dominion.
Yes.
From Weekend Update.
Yeah.
But it's also Canteen Boy.
Hey, Canteen Boy, can I help you with something?
Not right now, Mr. McGrath. Just get myself situated.
Well, spoiler alert, he does the same voice like 18 different times. With
Yeah,
like
spoiler alert.
different-
Yeah, he has one voice, right? You know, Canteen Boy is kind of that loose basis of this kind of with Cajun Man and
Yeah.
Dippy and Doodle.
Yeah. It's all that.
You know,
it's
like
the same thing over and over again. Yeah, so he like pulls, he does those voices are on like Little Nicky. He did a character, I don't remember what it's called, on Weekend Update that was like basically the same thing.
Well, it was a long summer, so let's dispense with the preliminaries and get to the rock and roll.
It was the character who did the rock and roll reviews.
Yes, yeah, with the hair.
Yeah.
And he also there was a bad Weekend Update thing that he did with Spade and Farley, where they were from a satanic church, and they were giving food reviews. They did it one time.
I know you love that whole cult thing, but how about that new restaurant? Is the food good or what?
The foul mist of dark death will cover the stage.
And it's kind of funny, only if you know the guys. But I imagine at the time people thought, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Because they were like, Chris Farley was like the head of the church, and he had like devil horns on, and he's like giving a review of an apple pie. It's kind of funny.
The unholy one is inside of me.
But that, I feel like, is loose inspiration for Little Nicky.
Yeah.
But this is all, he's coming out with movies year after year, and this is the one where I feel like it might start to like turn a little bit and be like, why is this guy putting out shit?
But it also still drew people in because of...
Yes. As did Big Daddy.
Well, but Big Daddy didn't have... It had like one or two lines, which again actually came from the same person who had the one or two lines in this movie that worked out. God, why am I drawing a blank now?
What? What are you talking about? Rob Schneider?
Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider is the stapler.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Like
the
Rob
waiter.
Schneider.
Yeah, you can do
So
it.
Rob Schneider in that one, he's the delivery guy, right?
yeah.
And like he has the hilarious lines of like the one that I quote on in that one is
Keep Pop Anonymous? Damn you! You gave him the easy one!
but in this one he has you can do it.
Which people still will say of a generation. I'm sure if you're younger than us listening to this, you might have no fucking idea what we're talking about.
No, right.
Friends of mine will do the you can do it.
Yeah.
So,
And Sandler said to him was like, this is the last time you will ever be able to go out in public without somebody saying to you, you can do it.
When they were filming the movie?
When they were filming the movie.
That's funny.
And then of course, like, you know, the Super Bowl this year, they had a commercial with Rob Schneider where he did the you can do it.
Yeah,
And so like he kind of reprised it. But there's that line, and then the other line that I love in this movie is the you better wake her ass up because we got to win tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those two lines I use on a regular basis. And, you know, it's typical for an Adam Sandler movie to have those things where it's like, I like those lines and I'm gonna say them.
In like junior high school, I remember we would call football foosball sometimes.
Yep.
It's from this shitty movie.
Yeah.
Also, point about Rob Schneider real quick. I don't want to forget this because I want to stand up for Rob Schneider a little bit.
Get up, cocksuckers. Salute the flag. Get up.
Underrated talent. He gets so much shit, I think, and he's like considered like the Meg Griffin of that friend group because he did like The Animal, The Hot Chick. I'm forgetting one of those.
The stapler, rated PG-13.
I mean, it could be worse. He could be Tim Meadows.
Tim Meadows is also talented.
Tim Meadows is very talented, but Tim Meadows, what opportunities did Tim Meadows have other than like The Ladies' Man?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like he had like one movie that he did.
Yeah, and now he just does like.
And now he does bit roles, and
some
then he was
Sandler movies, yeah.
he was the principal in
Mean Girls.
In Mean
When
Girls.
he was funny in that.
Yeah, I can't do this.
He was in season 2 episode of The Office where they go to Chili's.
Yeah, the Chili's episode.
He was very
yeah.
funny in that.
Baby back, I want my baby back, baby back, I want my baby back, rib.
Like that's the thing is like some of them are very, very like that grouping on Saturday Night Live, and this is just because I think we talked about this very, very early on about like which groupings are our favorite on like Saturday Night Live. And my favorite of all of them that I feel is the most talented of them all is the Farley, Spade, Rob Schneider, Tim Meadows, like that grouping.
Yes.
Even though, of course, right, like the kind of next generation that comes shortly thereafter gives it a run for its money, and I'm sure that that's the group that you probably associate more with.
No, season 20 is my favorite, even though it was before my time. So I grew up. I first started watching Saturday Night Live with regularity like 99, 2000 probably, maybe 98. I was too young. My parents just did not care. You're an accident child. We'll just, You can watch whatever you want. So I think 98 maybe, but I remember watching around the 2000 election with regularity because I remember Will Ferrell doing Bush and the Bush and Gore sketches. I remember we would like, that was appointment television for us.
Yeah.
So that was like the first time I like remember watching with regularity. Will Ferrell is like, if not number one, he's top 3 or top 5 SNL cast members ever.
Yeah. And
went on to have a giant career after. But when we started watching those, maybe a little bit before, my parents would get, like from the library, VHSs of old Saturday Night Live. So I would watch a ton of Farley.
And I live in a van down by the river.
Like a ton of the early 90s sketches. I've seen all of them.
Yeah.
My favorite SNL sketch, I shouldn't say this because I don't think it is my favorite.
Liar!
But one of my favorite SNL sketches is the Total Bastard Airlines.
Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
The bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I think about that every time I'm on a plane. And that's season 19 or 20.
Yeah.
Season 20 is my favorite because it's Norm Weekend Update, and then it's the last of Sandler, Farley.
Yeah. One of my favorite ones with Sandler, Farley, Chris Elliott, and Norm Macdonald is the zoo sketch.
Oh, the polar bear.
The polar bear.
Yeah, and that is
ripped off his head like so much volleyball.
So much volleyball, yeah. What are you, the mighty Thor?
That bear ripped off their heads like so much volleyball.
Like so much volleyball? Who are you, the mighty Thor?
That is Sandler and Farley's last sketch on the show, and it was written as a metaphor for getting fired.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Written by Norm.
Okay. I mean, Norm, we've talked about Norm and how I didn't appreciate him at the time when he was on Saturday Night Live. I thought he was not funny at all. And now I look back and I go back and I watch some of these things and his Weekend Update too and his deadpan delivery, and I go, I didn't appreciate this dude. This dude's hilarious.
Yeah, and so that's the end of season 20. I think that's probably one of my favorite sketches too.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, but just the idea of being like everyone going in to kill themselves basically. And then at the end, Adam Sandler goes in and says, I'm gonna jump in the polar bear cage, and Norm's like, I don't know if you should do that. The polar bear's still in there. He's like, of course I know the polar bear's still in there. What are you, stupid? And then he jumps in.
Oh my Lord, I swear to God, Norm, that was the stupidest thing you've ever said. Where would the bear be? Do you think I think that it got wings and flew up to Canada, where everybody talks like you and says arse instead of ass?
And no one's laughing during that sketch.
Yeah.
It's dying.
Yeah.
I love that one too.
Yeah, that's a good one. It all circles back to Adam Sandler, and you know, this ties in the Saturday Night Live to this movie, right? Which is his first iteration of the Hanukkah song from Weekend Update, which blew up and then recorded like in his concerts, which was a thing like for comedians, but it wasn't like it was weird. Like the 90s were a weird time for comedians, in particular comedians who played guitar.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like doing a stand-up set, it was a concert.
Oh no, Sandler's were like concerts and his albums were like music.
Yeah. And so like even thinking about like What the Hell Happened to Me, right? Mm-hmm. So, and those other the other albums that he released, which were huge in the 90s.
Spit on your hand and stroke my cock at a medium pace.
Hanukkah song he recorded then for one of his albums and did it live. And the line in the Hanukkah song about the Fonz being Jewish.
Guess who eats together at the Carnegie Deli? Bowser from Shanana and Arthur Fonzarelli.
That's how Henry Winkler got this job, was because of that song.
He fakes to the left. No, he fakes to the right. He doesn't fake.
Because he reached out to Adam Sandler after he heard the Hanukkah song and was like, that's hilarious, thank you. Like, that was really, really funny. And Adam Sandler was like, hey, you want to be in a movie?
That's good.
And so he got this job.
That funny tidbit about the Hanukkah song, Sandler wrote that with Norm Macdonald and a couple other people. They didn't have like the internet at the time, so they couldn't. There's a website now called Jew or Not Jew, where you can search somebody's names and it tells you if they're a Jew or not a Jew. You have to use it frequently, just out of interest. They didn't have that at the time. Not only did not have Jew or not Jew, they didn't have Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So to find out if somebody was actually Jewish, it took them sometimes a day to figure out, find out from people if that person was Jewish. So it took a long time to write the song.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Did you know that this movie for a period of time was the highest grossing sports movie of all time?
Oh, so it is a sports movie.
It's a sports movie. It's the highest grossing sports movie of all time.
In that case, Caddyshack's a sports movie, and we debated that for a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think we said it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm indifferent.
The movie that knocked it out of the top spot.
Was it The Longest Yard?
It was not The Longest Yard. The Blind Side.
Sandra Bullock. The Blind Side.
That's fair. That's a good movie.
The Longest Yard, Adam Sandler's other one, I think is just under this movie, which this movie remains the highest grossing sports comedy movie of all time. And the number 2 sports movie of all time.
That's kind of disgusting. Do you think a lot of people hated The Longest Yard because they liked the original and the remake in comparison was shit?
Yeah.
What do you like better, The Waterboy or Longest Yard?
Probably The Longest Yard.
Yeah, I think it's better.
Yeah, I think it was better. Unfortunately, people categorize movies in a certain way in going to the sports comedy movie, right? And this is the highest grossing sports comedy movie of all time. But Rocky IV did more. And Rocky IV is the best sports comedy movie.
That is a sports comedy.
Sports comedy,
and a Christmas
100%,
movie.
yes.
If he dies, he dies.
But yeah, it's and the reason why. So here's a little tidbit on why this movie did so well, being so awful. Right before the movie started, in the trailers, was a trailer for Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. And people bought tickets to this movie so they could watch the trailer of The Phantom Menace.
That is so funny.
And then they left the movie theater.
That's amazing because you couldn't watch the trailer on YouTube. Like
Nope.
now,
Yeah.
you just go, 20 million views on YouTube for the trailer.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So that's one of the reasons why this movie did so well.
Waterboy, we said is shitty. Better movie than The Phantom Menace.
Oh, 100% better than The Phantom Menace. But
so it's the second highest grossing sports movie of all time.
it is the highest grossing sports comedy movie, the second highest sports movie.
Have you seen Hustle, Adam Sandler's basketball movie?
No, I've seen clips of it, but I have not seen the whole thing.
You should watch it because I think unequivocally it is the best basketball movie ever made.
Do you love this game? I love this game. I live this game.
I don't think there's a close second.
Okay.
It is incredible.
Not Tropic Thunder.
Basketball movie.
Yeah, Tropic
Oh,
Thunder.
okay, sports comedy. Yeah.
What?
You're thinking? No, you're not thinking of Tropic Thunder.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's why you were fucking me up.
I'm sorry. I'm
Thunder's
sorry.
Vietnam,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of because they're the Tropics.
Flint Tropics. Yeah,
they're the Flint
semi-pro.
Tropics. Yeah, semi-pro.
I was
sorry.
like, Tropic Thunder's not a sports movie.
I mean, Tropic Thunder could be a sports movie. There's a lot of running.
It's a sandwich.
Yeah, it's a sandwich for sure.
Okay, so Hustle, I think, is because I think of all sports movies, there's a lot of good baseball movies. That has the most high quality sports movies of any sport. Then in hockey, I think most people would say Miracle's the best hockey movie.
I mean, we could have a little bit of a debate, because I mean, we do have probably the best sports comedy hockey movie of all time, Slapshot.
Okay, Slapshot's okay, but best. I mean, that's fair. If you want to include sports comedies, if you prefer a sports
Mighty
comedy
Ducks,
over
Mighty Ducks 2, Mighty Ducks 3.
But hockey would be second, I think, with the most movies people like in sports.
Not football?
Well, it's football, Rudy, which I don't think is that good of a movie. This, Longest Yard,
Last Boy Scout, Necessary Roughness,
We Are Marshall,
Blindside.
Okay, maybe football. Football has some good movies. All those I did mention.
The Program.
They're not all good. Brian's Song, forgetting a few of them.
The Super Bowl Shuffle.
We're not here to start no trouble. We're just here to do the Super Bowl Shuffle.
That's true. There's a really bad football movie about a high school team that went undefeated. I'm forgetting the name of this. It came out a few years ago. Football movies, I think, can be corny.
Are you thinking about the one?
Sports movies can be corny.
The Friday Night Lights? Is that what you think?
No, this wasn't as big of a box office success. This came out in
because that was about a high school football team.
Yeah, and I don't love that one. It's fine. I think football and baseball in particular can be really corny.
Yeah.
Remember the Titans is a good movie. I think there's elements of corniness in it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so maybe okay, so let's go baseball, football, hockey. There's not a lot of good basketball movies.
What?
Glory Road's good. Then after that, you get into
Okay, let's take a second here.
Hoosiers.
I have to say, I have to take real big offense with the whole Glory Road thing, right? because Glory Road is a 1966 Texas Western team.
Yeah.
And they get all the accolades and all the everything, right? 1963, Loyola University broke the color barrier. And, actually, San Francisco broke the color barrier in the 50s.
Yeah.
University of San Francisco. They don't get any credit for it either. But Loyola in 1963 had 4 African-American starters on their team.
I know.
And at one point, after John Egan fouled out, had 5 African-American players on the floor at the same time. And I would argue it's a better story than Texas Western, especially when you consider the game between Loyola and Mississippi State, where Mississippi State had to sneak out of the state of Mississippi to play Loyola in the tournament up in East Lansing. So I would argue their story is 100% better than Texas Western. And Disney goes and, thankfully, they actually did make a movie where graduating senior Lucas Williamson, who is playing now for the Clippers, narrated it, and they were showing it all around the country, all at like schools and universities, and like putting it out there. It's not going to be a box office thing because Disney didn't produce it. It was actually produced here in Chicago. But again, I take big offense to that whole thing, and that's not to take away from what Texas Western did, because they did something that at the time was still a big deal.
Yeah.
But up until recently, nobody cared, or other than a bunch of Loyola people or Chicago people, nobody cared about that fact. And besides the fact that
the only team in the state to ever win
the only state of Illinois university to win the national championship in basketball.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. And my point on Glory Road was.
No, I know, but you said it. You said Glory Road, and so then you just triggered me, and just
I can tell.
You cannot say Glory Road in front of me without me going down this path.
And also, this is just that whole story that you outlined is untold. In the NBA, they had an unofficial quota for how many black players you could have in their team in the 60s. And Bill Russell recently died too. And Bill Russell should be looked at some ways, not as Jackie Robinson maybe, but as a pioneer.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting way into the weeds on this. My point on Glory Road was it's okay. It's a decent movie. I enjoyed it. It's not.
I refuse to see it on the grounds of the whole
Loyola.
Loyola
But you don't
thing.
need to see it. It's not great. It's good. But that's an upper tier basketball movie. Hoosiers is an upper tier basketball movie. But there's not a ton of good basketball movies, I would say.
Blue Chips?
Then you get into sports comedies.
Did you see Blue Chips? You didn't see Blue Chips?
No, I haven't.
That's the real life story of Shaquille O'Neal and Anthony Hardaway. But it's not the real life story of them. But it's
good.
Nick Nolte is the coach.
Is this actually good or?
It's like The Program, the football movie The Program. You know that one, right? Which is based off of Florida State.
Yeah.
This is based off of LSU. And Shaq is actually in the movie, and because at
Shaq
the time
has a pretty good acting career.
Yeah, well, it has turned into a pretty good acting career. It was not at the start, but basically talking about how he took money, blue chips, these blue chip prospects, and how they take money to go play at these universities, loosely based on some of these players.
So even that sounds like a decent plot. Haven't seen it, haven't heard of it. Then you get into Space Jam.
Space Jam. You've never seen anything like it.
And these other silly movies. Hustle, I think, is far and away the best, and I watch a lot of sports movies, the best basketball movie ever made. So Adam Sandler, I don't even think it's close. I think it's one of the 5 best sports movies ever made. Adam Sandler is responsible for the best basketball movie. I'm not even gonna argue. You can comment that with a different one, you're wrong. The second highest grossing sports movie ever, and the highest grossing sports comedy movie ever.
I mean, it's a little bit shocking when you think about it, because you think of Adam Sandler, you think of, the Penguins and drunken escapades.
Yeah.
But he's found a niche.
He might be the most accomplished. Right after.
Does Uncut Gems qualify as a basketball movie?
You like to win, right? This is no different than that.
Black Jewel power.
Because of Kevin Garnett.
It can, yeah.
I mean, there's a basketball
I think
element to
Hustle's
that
better
too.
than Uncut Gems.
I disagree.
Uncut Gem.
Uncut Gems. Right.
But no, he after Kevin Costner, he is the most accomplished sports movie actor ever. Because Kevin Costner's in fucking Bull Durham.
Yeah.
Field of Dreams was a dog shit movie, but Draft Day. He's a very accomplished sports movie actor. Adam Sandler's right there with him.
Yeah, and he likes to play pickup basketball in shorts that actually go down to his ankles.
Yeah.
So, that are pants.
Yeah, he can actually hoop.
That look like Jankos.
Yeah, they do.
They look like
Now that I know
Jankos,
what
but
Jankos
they're...
are.
Now that you know what they are, yeah.
Yeah. But The Waterboy, anyway, not as good as... It's not a good movie. Like, I don't even enjoy rewatching this, to be honest.
I don't know if I've ever rewatched it.
I've seen it. It's been a minute, but I've seen it a couple times. I think his voice is just too grating in this. Like, he does a lot of silly voices in a lot of movies, and even like Hubie Halloween. Have you seen that?
I say Marco, you say Polo. Marco, weirdo.
I have not seen it.
That's a tier 2 Sandler.
But
movie.
apparently, this movie and Hubie Halloween are tied to each other.
I'm sure.
I guess there's some sort of connection.
Well, in Hubie Halloween and in this movie, you could argue that he seems somewhat mentally handicapped.
Well, in this movie, for sure, you can make that argument.
Yeah. I mean, it's not about like a mentally challenged person like beating the odds, but it's like clear there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, and maybe that's a link. But Hubie Halloween, he does basically just as annoying of a voice and kind of like mentally challenged.
What are we screaming at?
I find that movie hilarious. In this movie, I find him too annoying in the film.
What do you think about this movie? Where are you gonna go?
One more tidbit on it. I have like a bunch of tidbits on it.
No, go. Hey, drop your tidbits.
But I don't like the movie, and I'm gonna go pretty low on the score. I found this on a Reddit thread once, and I've never seen it confirmed by anyone in this the Sandlerverse. But Vicky Valancourt, the love interest in the movie, named after Norm Macdonald's ex-wife, Colleen Valancourt.
Huh. Well, to that, this is the third movie in the Sandlerverse that his love interest has the initials VV.
I know.
Right? You have
Veronica Vaughn.
Vicky Valancourt, Veronica Vaughn, and Virginia Venet.
Yeah, that's clearly a trend there.
Yeah.
I'm going pretty low.
Go for it.
$5.9.
I think it still cracks 6 because people like stupid things. So I'm going to go 6-1.
6-1.
I was between 5.9 and 6.1.
I mean, people like stupid things.